Hey everybody, it's Mike from Fishing the Mid-South, and today I have gotten in an order and I want to tell you about it. I posted a deal about this on a short, probably yesterday, day before. These are monster rod holders. These are the Ranger series. Okay, these have been discontinued. They were $24 a piece. They're down to $20 a piece. If you use code JODI10, Jodi10, it gets you 10% off the order. Regardless of how many you order, there's a $10 shipping fee. So if you order one, it's $10 shipping fee. If you order 20, it's a $10 shipping fee. Or at least if you order up to 6. I haven't tried ordering 20, but the shipping fee was the same from 1 to 6. I think even 1 to 8. I checked at one point. So let me explain to you what we've got here. So these are monster rod holders. These are not your cheap Amazon rod holders. Okay. Little background, Steve Douglas is the owner of Monster Rod Holders. He's been in business for over a decade. He created these rod holders, not these, but his original rod holders, because he got tired of rod holders breaking, and he was a big catfish tournament guy. And, you know, if your rod holder breaks during a tournament or anytime, you lose your rod, you lose your reel. Of course, you lost part of your rod holder, and you've lost a fish that could be worth the grand prize in the tournament. So he went out and he decided he was going to make his own rod holders. This is the Ranger series. It's not his original design. The original design apparently sells better. There are 48 in stock according to the website right now. These are on clearance, and I don't think he's going to get any more of them. So if you want them, go get them. They come, you get the rod holder and you get the nut. That's it. If you need a base, you have to order those separately. If you're going into like a T-bar, most of these are already threaded. It's a 1/2 inch by 13, which is the standard coarse thread for 1/2 inch, 1 for 1/2 inch. So I go through some of the specs, dimensions, and that kind of stuff. On the website, it says they're stainless. In talking to Steve, the base is stainless, the stem is stainless, and then this is, I guess, mild steel, but it's covered by a UV resistant, I forget the right word, we'll call it plastic, like a plastisol. These have been going on his rod holders for years, these coatings. I have never heard of a rust issue with these. I've never heard of them breaking or failing or any of that. I chose this style, 1, because I'm cheap, and 2, because I like this style better than the original, and I'll explain why. If you have a boat cover on your boat, you've got these 2 points are the same height. This one's a little bit lower than these 2, and this one's a little bit lower than the back one. So you got 4 points of contact for your boat cover to hit. The original design has 2 forks that come up. They're just, one sticks up, one sticks up. So you've got 2 points of very focused force there for a boat cover. So if it doesn't shed water like it's supposed to and you get water on it, it gives it a much easier chance to break or to tear. So I like this style. The fact that they're on sale, that's my number. That's where I come from. So it is, again, a 1/2 inch stem. Everything on here is 1/2 inch. The website says that there's 2 inches here, and it's very close for the rod width. I think without the plastisol coating, it is 2 inches. I measured it with the micrometer. I got over 1.8 and a little over 1.9. Never got below 1.8 inches. So there's plenty of room. Pardon me. These are heavy duty. These are not crappie rod holders. Okay, 1/2 inch diameter. I originally went with the cheap stuff off of Amazon that I think was 3/8 inch. And what I didn't like about them was it only comes in a single angle, which was, I don't know, 20 to 25 degrees, I think. These are double angle rod holders. They have a 15 degree, and then they have a 45 degree. And while the angle doesn't really matter to me much for personal use, I do YouTube. And when you're on the boat, and if I had my druthers, the rods would stick straight up, but you run into a lot of problems with that. One of those being that the rod is going to want to spin a reel, and then the reel will be moving around and all that kind of stuff. So you don't get a good tight fit because it can rattle around because it's straight up and down. So this resolves that. Now let's see. One thing I will tell you is I've already gone through all 6 of these. A couple of them, when I first started, they're threaded a little bit, and then it got tight, so tight that my weak arms needed to use my little 3/4 inch wrench to tighten down. Not that it took a lot of force, but I think it just had to rethread them just a little bit. They're threaded well. Don't get me wrong. I think it's just from bouncing around in boxes and such. 6 of these came in the box. The shipping weight on the box said 8 pounds. So they're not lightweight. These are sturdy. The first time I saw these, I was on Pontoon Jody's boat. Not these, but the original. And I'd never seen them in person before. And I'm like, my goodness, those things are extremely overbuilt. And please don't mistake. These are overbuilt by a huge margin. If you could tear one of these up, I don't know what to help you with. But they do have a lifetime warranty. Limited, of course. If it's from using it as a rod holder, then lifetime warranty. If you use it as a way to pull yourself onto the boat, or to tie your anchor off to, or something like that, or you drive over it with a bulldozer, not covered. Go figure, right? Okay, so holding as vertical as I can, and I can't, it's not going to work anyway. There's the 15-degree angle. The 45 is not going to work because I don't have a tall enough ceiling, but then you'd go, of course you'd have to tilt it up, and that's how you get your 45-degree angle. So this is an anvil rod, catfish rod. You can see I got plenty of clearance for a much larger rod, but, and then I'll take an Uncle Lou's rod, whoops, here, same thing. These are both well-built catfish rods. The Uncle Lou's is a medium heavy. The anvil was an extra heavy, and the rod butt is about the same diameter on both of them. And these are big, strong rods. The Uncle Lou's is rated for 2 to 10 ounces. The anvil is 4 to 20, and the line on that one's 30 to 80 pounds. So, yeah, those are stiff rods, strong rods. These are extremely strong rod holders. What else can I tell you real quick about them? Again, if you want one, you need to go get them now. There's, according to the website, 48 of them left in stock. They're on clearance. I don't think they're going to get any more in. The 2 angles I talked about, the stainless steel stem. I will tell you how I'm going to mount them. So they don't come with a mounting bracket. You can buy those separately. But what I'm going to do is I've got like a 2.5 by 2.5 inch steel rectangular tube that I use that my other rod holders are mounted to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drill a 1/2 inch hole through them. And of course, that's not going to work with this. So I've got a bolt that I'm going to put through the bottom with washers, and then at the top, so think of this as the bottom and the top of that tube. I'm going to run the bolt all the way through from the bottom. I'm going to put on this coupling nut, which is also 1/2 by 13, and tighten that down tight against the bar. And then thread this guy on as far as I need to go, and then bring this nut down and tighten it up against this nut so that it locks things in place. These rod holders are only available with a 4-inch stem. They're only available in black, and they're only available with a right-hand thread, which is your standard righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But some people like a left-hand thread for the right side of their boat. You know, that would tighten it up. This way would loosen it up. Yeah, sorry, the left side of the boat. So that when you have the rod in there, and something pulls on it, it could tweak a little bit. That's why you use the double locking, the 2 nuts, and lock them together and tighten them together. Word of caution, most of the rod bases you'll find are made out of aluminum. So what you want to do because it's two dissimilar metals, the stainless steel versus the aluminum, or stainless versus whatever, the connection will corrode. And you know, the little white crystallized stuff, that's the corrosion. And it happens from dissimilar metals. It's a normal thing. But if you leave these in place for a very long time and then want to move them, they may not want to move. So what you can do is you can use an anti-seize compound, which that's exactly what it's for, is for two dissimilar metals. Or you can use like chapstick, something like that, and just put it on the threads. And what that'll do is it'll protect the two dissimilar metals from making too much contact with each other directly without any kind of protection between them. So there's that. Again, these are on sale. They were $24. They're now down to $20. You can use code JODI10, JODI10, and that will knock another 10% off. There's $10 shipping fee, fixed rate. So order the number that you need. And of course, if you've never been to Monster Rod Holders, it's monsterrodholders.com. He has everything from T-bars to rod racks to hydro web nets. Let me tell you, those hydro web nets are huge. Like, I could fit in one of them. They're that big. I would love to have a hydro web net, let me tell you. So real quickly, I'm not sponsored. I'm not compensated in any way for this video. Blah, 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 blah. This is me spending my own money getting rod holders. And this is what I chose after looking literally for years. I have known about Monster Rod Holders for 5 or 6 years. And I've just always been the frugal / cheap type. And I'm to the point where I'm like, you know, it's time to buy once, cry once. Or cry once, yeah. And so this is what I've got. I'm really happy with these. Can't wait to get them on my boat. Now a little bit about my channel, real quick. If you've found this video helpful, please like, subscribe if you feel like doing so. Hit the notification bell, etc. And what you'll find on my channel is fishing-related items. Whether it's, if there's a good deal out there, I will tell you about it, much like this one. Big sales on rods, reels, that kind of stuff. If it's fishing adjacent and a really good deal, like I did a tripod, because a lot of people like to film themselves fishing, that kind of stuff. What you're not going to find is, you know, a notebook or stuff like that. I try to make them very good deals, and I don't post them unless they're a good deal, and I don't post them very often. So you're not going to get a whole bunch of notifications on stupid stuff. I fish for panfish, everything from bluegill to crappie to white bass to striped bass, catfish of any size that I can get a hold of. That's my freshwater stuff for the most part. I also do go down to the Gulf area off of near Pensacola, near the Alabama and Florida border there, fishing both surf fishing and fishing the intracoastal waterway for whatever I can possibly get. So there's some freshwater stuff, there's some saltwater content, and sometimes I'll just do live streams of tying rigs and stuff like that and just kind of hanging out. So please do like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I appreciate your support. We will see you guys on the next video.